Hello, listeners, to Alan Feldman's Infinite Potential podcast, where we interview business owners, entrepreneurs, impact seekers, and anyone under the sun on Staten Island to uncover our infinite potential for success, impact, and contribution. And so today we have Cory with us, the CEO and founder of Casal Jewelers. He has a very interesting story, and we're going to be diving into the marketing legend that he's regarded as in the Staten Island community, how he got started, what he's currently doing during COVID, and anything around self-development and business. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Cory.
Hey, Alan, how you doing, brother? Thanks for having me as well, and look forward to having a great conversation with you as well for the next time. So it's good.
Of course. Thank you so much. So let's get right into the questions. First thing, so let's talk a little bit about your career path. What does your work history look like? Where did you work? And what prompted you to create Casal Jewelers?
Okay, so I started working around 7 years old delivering newspapers. I don't know if that matters, but and I've been working ever since. That's one thing I think my dad, who I'm grateful for, put me to work right away and made me
Mm-hmm.
earn, every dollar that I had, whether it was to pay for the ice cream from the ice cream man or just to buy myself a gift. So my work ethic is there, and I never try to fall short when it comes to work.
Mm-hmm.
But as I progressed through the years, when I went to college, I did get my degree in computer science, and I got my master's as well. So straight out of college, I was helping to develop large-scale computer software applications for companies like Merrill Lynch, Bank of America, New York Stock Exchange. I also worked on a project, a $43.5 million project with the New York City Police Department.
Oh, amazing.
After 9/11, believe it or not, 911 was down for a period of 23 minutes, and they had to manually configure another machine over in Brooklyn to take calls. And
Yeah.
we put in a system that was a fault tolerance system between New York City and Brooklyn, that each system would allow communication back and forth consistently, so there would never be an outage again.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool project, actually, under Mayor Bloomberg at the time, and I was a big piece of it to make sure it functioned and worked properly, and managed a big piece of it as well. So it was a lot of fun. So that's kind of my career path leading up to the jewelry industry. Back in 2009, I took over Casal Jewelers when we purchased it from our competitor. My dad, who started in the business back in 1986, started under the name Independent Jewelers Market, which was like a flea market, per se, that allowed people to come in and choose from different booths and such. And he went and actually sold his New York City taxi medallion and took a second mortgage on our home to try to make a better life for our family when I was 11 years old. And I just remember kind of, him giving it all he's got, to try to do this. And I was a big part of getting him started as well as an 11-year-old kid, going there, helping him, cleaning up, and just doing whatever I can kind of to get the business rolling. But it was a lot of fun going into work because, I just saw how, he communicated with customers, how that friendly environment, that welcoming environment was something that he always put forth. So when coming into the jewelry business and buying out, Casal and leaving my city job back in 2009, I was groomed, we'll call it, to kind of just, I knew what I wanted, and I knew I wanted a friendly environment that people felt welcome to come into, like the cheers of jewelry stores, correct? Like everybody knows your name, you're welcome when you come in, and you just feel comfortable. And that's what loving on people is, is just making them feel comfortable and welcome, and that's what we tried to do in the business. So it was a challenge, I'll be honest with you. 2009 was an interesting year. A lot of businesses went under, major corporations too, because of the whole mortgage issue. And coming into the business, I didn't really know what to expect, but it was very, very slow. We literally, from what I heard from the staff, after a few weeks of them being comfortable with me, the new staff, was that, that some people didn't come in for 2 weeks, so they didn't have one person come in for 2 weeks. So my first 2 days of work were, my first day, we did a $20 repair, and that was all that came through. And then my next day was one person came through and bought a jewelry cleaner for $5. So $25 in sales in the jewelry business isn't much. It was a start, but you know what? At the end of the day, I kind of appreciate the fact that I made it my own, and that's kind of where it all started, really.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, you mentioned your dad was a very welcoming kind of person. It seems like you definitely took on some of those traits from him. You learned from him. Um, so I just want to see like exactly what um were there specific things that you liked that he did that kind of like was there specific words he used or um like in-store experience, like do you go directly to a customer? What are some of those things
Yeah.
that you do?
So yeah, that's great question, by the way. Because I think it's not what you do. It's kind of like who you are.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean. If you're a caring and loving person that appreciates the fact that
Mm-hmm.
customers walking through your door, and whether they're buying a jewelry cleaner for $5 or whether they're buying an expensive gift for their wife for an anniversary, of just per se, right? You treat everybody the same way with kindness, respect, and you go out of your way to make them feel welcome, but you go out of
Mm-hmm.
their way to make sure that your service is just there. And it's a natural thing. I don't know. As a growing up in my family, look, we weren't perfect, but I just remember my family always loved on us as kids. I have two younger brothers, and we weren't the best with three young kids, with wrestling being big back then. But you know what? We always knew that our parents loved us, and they then brought that back into the jewelry business, even with my
Yeah.
mom who started working. I just remember my dad, when people walked in, was just offered people coffee, was friendly, got to know them if they didn't know them. If he did know them, he knew about their kids, would have conversation with them. It wasn't just like when you walk into the car dealership is, hi, how can I help you? And that's it. So that experience led me to realize is that there's more to experience driven when running a business. It's all
Yeah.
about experience. It's all about how you feel when you walk in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Because when people walk into a jewelry store, a car dealership, or something more of that nature, they come in with that same feeling, of like they're ready for a fight or ready for a war.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just when I started in the business and started to grow the business, that
Mm-hmm.
was something I was comfortable with saying. I never want to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give my best price up front because that's fair. And if I can come down $2,000 on the price I would have the first time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, it was hard because a lot of people came in with that car deal mentality. And I remember my dad was very straightforward with people and always did his
Yeah.
best. That's fair. And when they tell me that they go into another jewelry store and they took $5,000 off the price and they were able to really haggle with this jeweler, somewhere else. I don't want to mention names, so it doesn't matter. But if they're able to come down $5,000, what happened if you accepted it the first time? So
Mm-hmm.
is that jeweler then taking advantage of you? And I try to express that if
Mm-hmm.
you feel comfortable doing business with somebody that initially tried to rob you for that initial 5,000, right? Or take advantage of the fact that if you said yes, he wouldn't say, no, you know what? I'm just kidding. I'll
Yeah.
lower it 5,000 for now, right? But
Mm-hmm.
with us, and it took 11 years to do it, is that people know up front that I'm going to give you the best possible price I can, because of the fact that that's fair, So that's something I always took away from my dad. Be
Mm-hmm.
truthful, be honest, be a stand-up businessman that people respect, and the respect will come right back at you when it's time to work on the sale, let's call it.
Yeah.
And again, it's work, and
Mm-hmm.
it's communication. It's like everything, and it's the same thing in family, right? We all communicate and we all learn from each other. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to learn what the customer's looking for. You have to learn what their feelings are, what their budget is, right? And make them feel comfortable telling you, this is what I want to get, this is what I want to invest in to get
Yeah.
my loved one something special. So
Yeah.
kind of a few things that I've learned along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's definitely a level of gratitude within what you're saying. Even there's two specific words that you mentioned with like it's who we are as people. You didn't exactly use gratitude, but there's definitely like people walk through the door and you're just so grateful that they're walking through the door. You
Yeah.
want to naturally give them the best experience. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And I guess that circulates back to, and I'm sure you were going to ask it anyway, but the people we hire, my thing when I look to hire somebody is
yeah,
to hire somebody that's loving, caring, generous, all of those qualities that gracious, let's call it,
yeah,
so, because I feel like you really can't teach somebody that,
yeah,
people are made up that way, the composition of that. So when they come into the store and they come into that and have that experience of being welcomed,
Mhm.
I can always, then teach them how to sell jewelry, right? You can teach somebody anything other than, I feel like you can't teach somebody, certain traits, that you want from a person when they work it in your business, and you have that vibe, that loving vibe when people come in the door, and that appreciation that, at the end of the day, if the person walks out the door and they don't purchase something, they can honestly say that they left with a good experience. They can't say that they felt like they were being mistreated, or,
Yeah.
someone tried to push something more down their throat than they wanted to pay. There's always a nice feeling, I guess, when you walk out the door, whether you purchase something or not. But we're grateful that a lot of customers trust in us, so they do generally leave with the gift that they're looking for as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything has like an ingrained kind of value that's beneath it, right? Like you're mentioning love. Um, if you look at like proper management or like really exceptional management or leadership, that's realistically what it's based on, love. And how
Yeah,
does that look like? Same thing with even sales. If you have gratitude as your value, I mean, the sale is just going to come easy because you go to them. You're not trying to push anything. You're trying to
right,
connect with them.
right,
And
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, makes
Um,
perfect sense. Good stuff.
mhm.
Really good.
Okay. So next, I want to talk a little bit about the first campaign that you started with as Casal Jewelers and if it was successful and what did you learn?
Okay, so 2 weeks into owning Casal Jewelers, I called my father, uh, I guess emotionally upset and crying almost because,
Mhm.
within 2 weeks, we had very little people coming in the door, and I really didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I called my dad and I asked him, Dad, I need people to come in the store. I'm not sure what to do. The
Mhm.
staff at the time found me more as a threat rather than a beneficiary,
Mhm.
because they thought that my family was then going to come over and we were going to fire all them in the new store, in the new location. So they had, at the time they were a little hesitant to want to do things with me and want to support us at the time. So there was very
Yeah.
little communication. I felt alone. So I called my dad, and my dad said that I should call the Staten Island Advance. Her name
Mhm.
was Lisa Taft. Actually, she was the Advance rep back then, 11 years ago, and
Mhm.
basically put a tear off on the front page of the newspaper. And that tear off would have, like, it was almost like a post-it where you
Mhm.
could put like a promotion or something that you're doing. And he said, put a free watch battery, and you'll see. He goes, that doorbell, because we have a doorbell system, will be ringing all day long. Right? I said, all right. I said, I'll do whatever you say. He goes, I'll pay for it, but you have to pay me back. My dad's motto, right? Always earn it for yourself, which I respect. I really do. So anyway, so I did this. I called the Advance. They do the post-it. They do the graphics. They put it on the front page. And then that day, it was a Tuesday, I
Mhm.
remember the doorbell was ringing like crazy. And I was so excited. I felt like I finally, we hit the nail on the head. It's happening. People coming in, and we're gonna do the best we can for them. They're gonna want to come back. I had all this like high hopes. So I was in my back office at the time, and I had a suit on. I was all dressed up, and I went downstairs feeling good, like I was ready to take on the world. And I realized that it was all senior citizen men with Ziploc bags filled with watches, screaming
Yeah.
because I didn't put limit one per customer on the coupon. So they were very,
Oh,
very animated. The Accessoride was outside our store waiting to pick
yeah.
them back up, and they were going absolutely nuts over the fact that we were
Mm.
not going to stand by the ad. So I basically came down and I fought a battle with a whole bunch of senior citizen men. And when the time was right, I waited for my moment. And you know what I did? I ran in back. And I ran away from it because I didn't know how to handle it. And I was so embarrassed by the situation that with my staff was there again, also going through this. And I'll
Mhm.
never forget, my store manager at the time ran upstairs. She's like, you have to come down and handle this. We're not sure what to do. I said, listen, you've been in the business for 30 years. I don't know what I'm doing. I need you to help me out on this one. Please take care of this. Please work with me on this one. I promise you, I'll do my best. Please take care of this. So I didn't go down
Mhm.
because I didn't want to have to deal. But she went down, and little by little, I guess it started to taper off. But even years down the road, people were still coming with that thing because I never put an expiration date on it either, and still come in with that coupon for their free watch battery. But at the end of it, there's a few things we learned from that. One is that there's no quick fix to try to make things happen.
Yeah.
And a free watch battery is great. You get people in the store, and yeah, it wasn't ideally what we thought it would be, but there's more to business, and there's more to marketing, and there's more to relationships, that is not just, give something away for free and hope for the best. My dad would do stuff like that, but he was already established, so he'd get newer people in and they already knew who he was. Me as a new business owner, it just didn't work. It didn't work for us. Plus, what it did was it showed my staff that I was human, because I had fun with it. It was more so, I'm not going down. It was more of a laughter thing. Like, I'm not going there. I'm not going anywhere near them. You take care of them. I'm not going down. They're going to beat me up, So they found laughter in it. I was able to break the ice with them and able to really sit down with them and tell them and promise them that I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to go at it 150% and give you everything I got to make this business successful. But just please be patient with me and give me time. As you can see, I'm trying, right? And they kind of warmed up to me after that, because they saw, what, he's human. He has a personality and a sense of humor towards these things, because a lot of people would have probably freaked. But I found it funny, because it kind of is funny, actually, how it all panned out.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a blessing, because it made me realize a lot of things, is that things take time. Owning a business, running a business, opening a business, and hoping that immediately you're going to be successful is just not the way it works. It's a lifetime of committing yourself to change, adapting to the environment, and really, as things change, similar to what's happening now in our world, we have to adapt as well. So that's the number one thing in business that if I ever recommend to anybody, just be ready. Just like the quarterback, when he's behind the center, he looks around at the defense, right? And he looks around and he'll call an audible if he realizes that things aren't really the way he feels comfortable, and he'll call a different play so that he doesn't get annihilated and his team doesn't get destroyed. So they'll kind of just, they'll pull audibles and they'll make plays happen for their team, kind of similar to the way we operate our businesses. As the leader, I have to be able to make things happen and shift and change as the times change as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's to me an essential business lesson. Because like even now, if we look at, like, we're shooting this podcasts are huge. Or even talking about, and this is something we will talk about later on, is when you start to use the social media and that the Facebook campaign that you won, you innovated. You were one of the first to start in the Staten Island community, and it paid off. So I think it's really important to do that, because if you're not keeping up with what's going on, obviously you're not going to succeed.
You'll miss out. You'll miss out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so next, when did you discover the importance of community building tactics for building your business, and how did you get started with this kind of strategy in the Staten Island community?
Great question, because another. There's always a story behind everything, right? There's always a nice little beginning. And the beginning started when a friend of mine, Christine Fiorenza, big in the Staten Island community, had come up to me because she knew my parents at a Chamber of Commerce after hours, business after hours, it was called. And it was my first one I ever went to, and she invited me as her guest to come and see what it's all about, and all, and so I had went. So I literally remember I was so excited because there were business people everywhere, and it was a great opportunity to be able to connect and be able to, show them that I'm the new owner and explain to them what's going on with us and give them a business card and really just get out to the Staten Island community. So I had a glass of wine. I came in, I'll never forget it, right? And I just started getting into people's circles, because there were circles everywhere of people that were already connected, right?
Yeah.
So I started getting into their circle, and then immediately as I got into that circle, I took over, and I became a salesman, right? And I started selling not only my business, but myself, what we have, my brands, my story, my this, my that, right? And I started handing everybody business cards, right? So all of a sudden, I saw that circle start to break apart, right? So I moved on, and I moved to another circle, and I consistently did this for about an hour, let's say, right? To the point where I was starving already, right? Because I was working the room so much. So I sat down to eat some food at a table, and I looked around, and I realized that I was all by myself. And I said to myself, I said, wow, I think I did something wrong here, I kind of saw people, and I looked around, it became like visual, like in slow motion almost, that everybody was just talking, communicating, enjoying their time together. And basically you could see people had relationships that were formed that were together. So me, what I did was I walked into this already formed relationship between people, right? And I
Yeah.
tried to pop the question before even having the first date or before trying to get to know anybody, right? So I came out like ready to go, with my story.
Yeah.
So like in any relationship, especially if you're going on a first date, the number one rule is don't talk about yourself, right?
Mhm.
Talk about others, ask questions, get to know people, make people feel good. So and I realized, I was like, wow, I was sitting there by myself, I was like, man, I really just I didn't come across like I really wish I should. And someone had walked up to me and they were like, hey buddy, everything okay? You saw the anguish in my eyes. And it was Alan Katz. And he started to talk to me. He sat down with me
Yeah.
and he actually said, we're starting this American Cancer Society Business Council. If you're interested in getting involved,
Mhm.
you can get involved. And I thought to myself, wow, this is really cool. I said, I can get involved without financially having to outlay any money, because I didn't have any money. I put everything I had into my business, and I didn't have anything to lay out anymore. So I thought to myself, wow, this is a great opportunity to be able to contribute,
Yeah.
be part of something special.
Mhm.
Also be connected with this gentleman who just walked over to me and made me feel completely comfortable and started asking me the questions that I probably should be asking everybody else. And he really introduced me to networking
Yeah.
and community. And I realized at that point, there's more to being a business owner than just going out there and getting business. It's about building relationships. It's about supporting our community and
Yeah.
being involved. So my nature is creativity. I never like to do things the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just who I am. So I started realizing that I can incorporate that into doing fundraising for businesses. That's different than everybody else. I realized that I can get involved and do specials in my store where we benefit the community. The Race for the Ring, which was a
Yeah.
huge thing that we did for 9 years, was a big thing that involved the community, social media, charity. We raised over $150,000 for our community through a comedy night that we run through it. So
Mhm.
I'm not sure if we'll get into that, but the
Yeah.
Race for the Ring was a huge catalyst in building our business, because it was our first major promotion that worked, we'll call it, right? So the first one didn't work. This one that helped build our name and build something, really special for us. So
Mhm.
so at the end of the day, community is everything, especially in our community in Staten Island. There's a lot of fundraising. There's a lot of need, a lot
Yeah.
of families, a lot of like corporate type things that are bigger charities, but there are smaller ones, bigger ones, everything in
Mhm.
between. And we really try to find a creative way to help them raise money, and be out there, be the face of the business. So I'll go to all these events. I'll be there. The business owner generally doesn't go to these things and participate like we do, but we do, because we get to communicate and get to be there in front of people and have fun at the same time, raising money for some great charities.
Yeah, right. And I wanted to ask, in terms of, so with when you mentioned that you joined Chamber, you went to those different circles, you started being salesy, trying to sell what you do and all that. Was there a level of need within you that if you didn't do this, your business would fail?
Yes. It was like desperation.
Mhm.
It came to a point where I was getting desperate to find a customer.
Yeah.
And just like, again, we'll go back to the first date scenario. If you go on your first date and you tell the person that, you want to get married
Mhm.
right now, basically is what I did when I went to that inner circle by giving them all my business card and basically talking about myself for
Yeah.
3-4 minutes or whatever. It really pushed people away rather than have them gravitate closer, So yeah, oh yeah, I was desperate. Yeah, it was a scary time for us in our business. And things weren't really getting better on the onset. A lot of work to do, and I didn't know what to do.
Mhm.
But as that started, it helped me realize that I can connect with the business community in a different way, because that
Mhm.
wasn't me.
Yeah.
you know when people are desperate, when people are in need, when people really are afraid, they react and do things differently, right? And that's kind of what I was doing. I was trying
Yeah.
to figure out, like, what do I have to do, like what do I need to do to make this work, so by then now realizing that the next time I went to one of these mixers,
Mhm.
I went in there wanting to get to know the people and wanted to get to know their business and want to get to know what made them successful. People like to talk and people like to share their experiences, and they like to help somebody that is asking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I genuinely wanted to know. And I formed some great connections by doing that, and I formed some trust by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And express some of my concerns of, how maybe I can do things differently, and how I'm new to this, and and it allowed them to start asking me questions.
Yeah.
So now it becomes a relationship. That's how relationships work. You communicate. One person communicates, you listen. Other person communicates, you listen. And it goes back and forth and hand in hand. And then that's how things start, and that's kind of how it started with us. So it was a benefit, honestly. Everything is a stepping stone, to realizing that, like, it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
Listen, a lot of people at that point could have said, this isn't for me. Between the washing battery thing, and between being all alone at the table and not knowing what to do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might have said, you know what, I think it's better off if I give up, but at that point, there are people that would maybe do that. But on my end of it, I was like, you know what, this is going to want to drive me further, learn
Yeah.
more, and be better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Michael Jordan theory. If you watch that show, The Last Dance, he would use things to drive him forward, where most of the people probably would have got pulled back. So he would, Karl Malone getting the MVP drove him to destroy Karl Malone in the next series. So really, like, it was like, you have that mentality as a business owner, as a leader, to lead by example, and to never
Yeah.
let your guard down, and always want to push forward, even when you're doing things that are pulling yourself back. You
Yeah.
want to learn from that and move forward. So kind of the things I've learned along the way.
Yeah. And it's amazing that you learned the lesson even I think it's rather quickly because um so I think everything is energy, at least to me. So energetically you're putting out, I'm desperate, I need business. So you're not going to receive it. But then what's really ironic and um, coincidental in a sense is as soon as it kind of, and you mentioned it, that it popped in your head that like you were sitting all alone and you reflected on it. And then immediately you were like, okay, I can't be doing that. I'm being too salesy. I can't, like, I have to actually build relationships with people. And as soon as you realize that I forget his name already, but that guy came over to you.
Alan Patz. Yeah, Alan
Yeah,
Patz. Yeah.
almost, I'm guessing immediately. Like as soon as you thought that, you were just like in the mode and he just
Yep.
came.
Yep.
Um, so that's a good lesson, I think, to people. You get what you are, I think, in my opinion, and you get what you energetically put out into the universe. If you energetically put out, I'm desperate, no one wants to be around desperate energy.
No,
People
no,
want to
I
be
agree.
around energy that's contribution and love and impact.
Right.
So
100%. So I'm a very spiritual person, and to me, God is love, right?
yeah.
And that's he created the world with love, and did
Mhm.
this in a way that yeah, when people feel that energy, and there was some prayer at that time of sitting by myself to kind of find peace,
Yeah.
and that's honestly when he walked up, and it kind of just totally changed, and really redirected my feelings, my emotions, and everything that was kind of going on with me. So I'm grateful for him. If he's out there listening, I'll give him a shout, because you know what, he didn't have to do that, but he did, and he helped lead me in the right direction, just like so many other business people in the community. And I'm grateful, not just for the Staten Island community for patronizing our business, but for the leaders in the community that are part of these organizations, like the Chamber of Commerce, the
Yeah.
SIEDC, which I joined. They really took to me, and allowed me to come in like an infant almost, that has no knowledge, and start communicating with them and learning from them and wanting to know more,
Yeah.
and almost be fed with knowledge and wisdom and discernment, like everything that kind of came along with it. I'm grateful for the Staten Island community for doing that, and I formed some great relationships because of it as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. Um, okay. So let's see. Okay, so you mentioned that you saw collaboration and helping local nonprofits as your creative outlet to doing business. Why do you think this strategy is an important one to grasp for long-term business growth and let's say in other industries as well?
it's interesting because 99.9% of the world, I call it that anyway. That's probably a little bit less, but
Yeah.
in business, really looks around at other businesses and sees what the big guys are doing. And that's what I did. I looked around and tried to see what the big guys are doing at some point, you know. And I
Yeah.
had read a book. It was called the Ruthless Rules of Local Advertising. It was a small book, you know, nothing crazy, but you know, it just talked about community. You know, one of the things was, you know, be different, you know, be active, you know, and at the time, I'll be honest with you, you know, people, I started getting things for journal ads, $250 here,
Yeah.
this, you know, $500 for a sponsorship, you know, and then people, because I started seeing people in the community, they started reaching out to me to do certain levels of sponsorships, which is their entitlement to, you know, work, if they're doing work with these nonprofits, to reach out to business leaders and stuff and people to get money, which is good. The problem, I guess, which I mentioned before, was that I didn't have any money to give, you know, so I found creative ways to be involved, you know, and the first way I was involved was actually at the breast cancer walk. With also the business council, but we went to the breast cancer walk for the American Cancer Society, and we set up a table, and my staff, us as well, and my brother came, and it was such a rainy day that day. It poured like no other. So we set up a tent and we sold cookies, right? And we raised money, and my brother made these ribbons, you know, like breast cancer ribbons, and whatever money we raised, we gave it to the American Cancer Society. But you know what? We met thousands of people, you know, and we were able to communicate with them, and whether they bought a cookie or not, you know, we gave some cookies to little kids just because they were cute, you know. And it was a showing of just true feeling of appreciation and generosity and stuff that we just did, you know. It was like, why not do this, you know, like this is really, really cool and it feels good, you know. So that was like the start of it, you know, is you know, we raised a few $100s, whatever it was at the time, you know, and it wasn't much, but you know what, everything helps, you know, when it comes down to business. And that was our first real creative way of saying, how can we give back creatively without, you know, having to really put out so much money, you know, because a lot of the charities out there today look for major sponsors. And it's a lot of money, you know, for a small business like myself. You know, usually corporations have those budgets to be able to fund those, but we couldn't do that, you know. But we just found ways to really go to people's events, be in front of people, and give away things. You know, give away a piece of jewelry and have people buy keys. At the time, you know, we sold keys for $20 a piece. Sold 100 keys to win a diamond necklace, right? So people would come up to our table and try to turn the lock on the key to see if they won, you know. And, you know, they would come to our table, we'd communicate with them. I was there. I'd get on the microphone, announce, you know, what we're doing, and have the ability to put myself in front of, you know, 500-600 people in the Hilton or the Vanderbilt or wherever this charity event is, because that's generally where the two big ones happen all the time, you know. But, you know, so we were able to really contribute rather than just have a logo on a sign and get a mention by the person who's leading it. You know, we were able to get in front of them and do something fun and creative. Wow, this is really cool to be able to say, you know, here's $2,000 we raised for your charity. And not only did we just say, here's $2,000, but we worked for it. You know, we worked to communicate with people at the event, to explain what we're doing, to explain who we are. You know, we're here to help, and you're going to help us raise $2,000 with a $20 donation today, you know. And we donate 100% of the proceeds. We're not taking anything for the jewelry itself. We're donating that. That's from us, you know. And people just saw the light, you know. And I feel like, you know, when you bring light into the dark world, and bring brightness and light and just fun and enthusiasm and passion for the fact that, like, you know, excitement of like, we're going to raise $2,000 and you're going to be a part of it as well. And you get this key, and, you know, there's just so many, it's just cool, you know, like, so I felt like, you know, I can do that, like, and it worked, you know. And that was like our first major thing. We did it at Michael's Cause. We actually did it. I think it was around Easter time with Michael's Cause. And I think we did with like Easter eggs, you know, we put keys in like Easter eggs, you know, and people came and took an egg, you know, or even a champagne glass with an egg. I think it was a champagne glass, and we put the egg attached to it, you know. And we did, you know, we gave away, you know, did little things to kind of help them raise money and do fun things, you know. So now we've evolved, you know, we give away vacations now, you know, to Vegas or Disney World. We give away diamond forever mark necklaces. You know, we now that we invest a little bit more into the prize as well, because it looks good, you know, and it's fun. So we try to find fun in supporting our community, you know, especially at these fundraisers. You know, generally a fundraiser for a nonprofit is generally a nonprofit trying to help people that are seriously in need. So we bring the fun into that. You know, we bring the fun and excitement into doing things a little bit differently, and say, look, they say, well, what do you need? You know, what do you need from me? I need a 6-foot table. Give me that, and I'll set up everything else. So we set up poker tables. We have wheels. We do it's like why not? My next thing, which we're gonna do, I'll let you know. This is the first time I'm gonna mention it too. Is that we're gonna get the
Ooh.
Plinko board. Plinko from Price is Right. So
Yes,
if you're
yes.
familiar, yeah, you drop a disc and it,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on where you go, it
Oh,
depends on how many cards you're gonna be able to pull from a deck to win this, vacation
oh,
or the next.
wow.
So yeah, so you know what? Honestly, have fun. Do things that are fun for the community. Do something fun that's gonna be able to give back a little bit as well. And to see that, you're enthusiastic about it, and people get to see that part of you, which I think is special.
Yeah, right. Especially in the nonprofit world, because um, more often it's just very serious, which it should be for
Yeah,
good reason.
yeah,
But you got to make it joyful. Like even if you have galas, if it's all serious,
right.
and you don't like, there's a reason we have dancing at galas.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta make some kind of enjoyment to it. And it's good that you mentioned that. I actually still have
Oh, there you go.
this from last year.
That's
Um,
great. Yep.
it's really an amazing, like some of the ideas that you have are really creative, and um, I'm sure they generate a lot of business. I see, like when I got this I think last April
Right.
2019, when you
Yeah.
did that. I mean, I saw a lot of people coming up to you, um, and joining the booth and participating, and
Yep. Yep.
so it's a very
I
good way to
appreciate
do
that.
business.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny you have that actually. Believe it or not, that's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory thing. We sold bars for $10 a piece and donated all the money to Michael's cause and
Yeah.
to Sunrise Day Camp. And we've done a bunch of things.
Mhm.
Wizard of Oz, kind of thing. So we really yeah, it's fun. Sometimes I get a little I don't want to say embarrassed, but I can't
Mhm.
believe I did that kind of thing. Especially to my staff, because my staff they look great in those pictures. But have fun. Listen, people see the fun in it. People see you're enjoying yourself. The majority of the time they enjoy it because
Mhm.
it's theatrical. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I learned when you mentioned that Facebook grant and that big break for small business, which I'll get into quick. It's so Facebook and American Express in 2012 ran a promotion to encourage and support small business, which they called
Mhm.
the Big Break. So the Big Break was actually you received a $25,000 grant. You received mentoring and such for your business. They created a whole cool video series on you and stuff like that, and you had to apply. So I
Mhm.
applied and I became a top 10 finalist in this promotion because of our community involvement, our creativity and such. So we had to get votes. We had to get rally our community and do all this stuff, which I
Yeah.
did. And I never slept during it because I constantly be pinging people to please vote, 5 more days, 2 more days, 1 more day. And I remember I was on the golf course at the time at a charity event, and I got a phone call from them, and they announced that we won. So I
Mhm.
started screaming like a little kid because it was so exciting that people probably thought I had a hole in one, which not the way I play golf is impossible. Miniature golf, maybe miniature golf, but not golf at the Richmond County Country Club.
Yeah.
But it was a really, really exciting time for us. And when we went for the mentoring session at the Facebook office in New York City, the #1 page that they pulled up was Oreo. And they said, watch Oreo and follow Oreo and what they do. So literally they would take their Oreo cookies and put faces on them and do things to kind of do things. And they would encourage
Yeah.
people to contribute their best Oreo face, and stuff like that. They got people encouraged, got people to communicate back. And really, it was that, and Oreo did a great job of it, and
Yeah.
there were some other companies as well. I don't remember. I just remember Oreo because, they really did a great, great job as promoting themselves on social media. And that was a big catalyst for our company.
Mhm.
The exposure, the media, the press, and basically with the $25,000, I vowed to give it back to the community over the next several years. So I did a promotion, which was called Sharing is Caring Giveaway, which I had nonprofits apply and had people vote for the nonprofits, and the top 3 nonprofits received a grant from us.
Yeah.
So over 5 years, I took that money that I earned and gave it all back into our community by running this promotion. So it took 5 years, but at the end of the day, I think it was about 15 nonprofits that each got anywhere from around 2,000, whatever the number come out to be,
Yeah.
1,500, 2,000. She
Right.
split it up,
Mhm.
differently throughout the years. But at the end of the day, we gave all the money back to our community because they were so instrumental in helping us win. So what else do you do but you give it back?
Yeah.
So pay it forward. Then sharing is caring. Then navigated to pay it forward giveaway because we had somebody we ran a contest per se and had people rename our giveaway, which was called Pay It Forward, which was a lot of fun and really got the community excited about kind of, helping their own favorite nonprofit. And it had to be a local nonprofit within our
Yeah.
Staten Island community. They needed a Staten Island address. So a lot of people benefited from it, which is great. And it was fun, at the same time. So it worked out well.
Yeah, that's a great example of coming up with creative ways to, to raise funds or do business. And I really
Yeah.
admire the fact that you didn't take that money for yourself and just gave it back.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's
You know what? It's the right thing to do. Yeah. There are more people out there in need. And that's what we're supposed to do as a small business in our community, to be able to
Mhm.
support our community, give back when we can. And if you can't give me, honestly, one big recommendation for people, and people really don't see it this way, is
Yeah.
that, look, it's not all about giving money. You can literally give your time and volunteer. I take my kids on turkey basket deliveries that, we deliver turkeys to families in need the Saturday
Yeah.
before Thanksgiving through the Rotary clubs, the 5 Club Rotary. I mean, there's no reason why you can't get in your car Saturday morning at 6:30 in the morning and drive to, 5 homes and give turkey basket. There's no money involved.
Yeah.
There's the feeling of, helping our community, helping those in need. So you could go to charity events, help set up. You can be on a board and help contribute your time rather than your money.
Yeah.
So, it becomes a lifestyle that you live.
Mhm.
It's not all just about, being there in your business. It's being there in your business and then in the outside community, helping out and supporting as best you can. So it's kind of something that I've realized is that, as a business owner, it's a lifestyle you live.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle is not just in your store. It kind of expands to everywhere, pretty much. No matter where
Yeah.
you go, you represent yourself as a business owner.
Mhm.
So, you can't go into Lowe's and go buy something, or Home Depot, whatever, and go buy something and fight with the people at the register because people know who you are. It's just,
Yeah.
and that becomes who you are, right? So
Mhm.
you got to be careful out there. There's a lot of business owners that unfortunately, live two separate lives. They live the life of the business owner, and then all of a sudden they go out into the real world and they're completely different, and
Yeah.
they get exposed for it, unfortunately. And it's happened. I'm not going to mention names, but you read
Yeah.
articles and stuff that's happened to certain business owners because in their personal life they reacted in a way or did something in a way that was completely inappropriate. And you know what? We live a lifestyle of people know who we are because we put ourselves out there, and
Mhm.
it's a life. It's truly who you are as a person, and just appreciate the fact that you're allowed to be out there in a way that you get exposed in it that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, it's a blessing all the way around. It really is.
Mhm. Great words.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, so next, Race for the Ring. What was the creative process that you took to come up with that idea? And then what's the innovation within it that allowed you to meet the demands of the audience that you wanted to target?
Okay, take a deep breath for this one. This is a big one. So I'm driving over the outer bridge, and I'm thinking to myself, coming back from the Jersey Shore at the time, back in Staten Island, I'm thinking to myself, man, you know what? There's so much traffic, right? Because back then it was the thing, like the Jersey Shore. It calmed down a little bit, but
Yeah.
and I'm thinking like, you know what? I can get a billboard over the outer bridge, and I could put like an engagement ring billboard for the summertime, right? Which is generally slower, but there's more traffic and there's more people around my age that are probably going to want to get engaged. So they'll see the
Yeah.
billboard and it'll be great. So I contacted the billboard company that was noted on there. And I asked them at the time, what's the cost? What's the contribution and everything else? So the cost, I think it was around $6,000 a month, 6-month minimum. The artwork had to be paid for up front as well. So I was looking at about $40,000. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money, like I don't have that money, again, it was about a year in, and I'm like, I don't have that money to contribute. And I just didn't, I had to find a creative way. So it hit me. And that's when the Race for the Ring happened. And I immediately remember I called Christine Garlisi from the Nicocha Group, the
Yeah.
Hilton, all that stuff. We went to school together pretty much and worked together in St. John's University. She was above me and worked
Mm.
for the school, and I was the student union chairperson. So I helped coordinate events and creative events and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So we had worked together in the past. So I gave her a call and I said, Christine, I said, I never left a message. I got a great idea. I want to collaborate with you. I want to do a race for a ring, and I want to give away an engagement ring, and I want to get all people excited. And I want to find a fun way to do it. So I left a message, and immediately, a few minutes later, she called me back. She goes, we're in. Let's talk about this. Let's get together. So we got together, me and her, and we found other wedding vendors that would want to be involved as well. And we had a big meeting, and that's where it really spurned off. And it was like, wow, I have all these really cool people that getting together to talk about how we can give away an engagement ring and how they can give away wedding packages as well, because they were all in the wedding industry. So we started it through social media. At the time, there wasn't a sophisticated platform for running events and contests, because it was back in 2010. So what we did was, you just had to post and tag us and then get people to like it, basically, seeing a certain type of visual image that they had to attach with the race to the ring. And then that's how it started, through social media. We did video. We had to make videos, and those are still on my YouTube. If you ever want to go to my YouTube channel and check out the cool videos that these couples made of why they should win this ring. We had the comedy night for the first time that helped raise money for the American Cancer Society with Alan Katz through the Business Council, right? So you see how it all kind of works out. He helped coordinate that, but also we brought all the Race for the Ring couples and their families and stuff and invited them to help contribute for this event. The cool thing is that people don't remember is that, that when we did our announcements for the Race to the Ring at this comedy night, there was one couple that Sean and Megan Gould, now married with 2 kids, that Sean was a friend of ours, and he knew he wasn't going to make it, So during the announcement, like beforehand, he came to me and bought a ring. So during the announcement, he was the last one standing with one other couple, and of course they were eliminated. So I said, Sean, and we're on the mic in front of everybody at this comedy night. I said, Sean, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for being part of this. Do you have anything you want to say to the crowd? And I gave the mic. And he, of course, went into a spiel about how he wished he could win. And because of that, he wants to propose right here, right in front of everybody. And he got down on one knee at our first comedy night for the Race for the Ring and proposed to his now wife of 10 years almost, Such a cool thing. It's also on our YouTube channel, me jumping up and down. We were so excited. It was cool. We raised some good money for the American Cancer Society, had our first Race for the Ring that was crazy scavenger hunt all throughout Staten Island, being chaperoned by limos to different locations, doing challenges, and, ended up at our store doing, I don't even remember, a puzzle, an edgeless puzzle, and all this excitement and all this stuff. So, and that was our first proposal in front of the news, the media. New York One, the Advance was there. We videoed it with Industry Magazine and made a whole TV series with it. So it turned out to be really good, because it really did, in the beginning, where social media was still kind of new. We went out there as a business and utilized those resources the best we could. Because back then, believe it or not, you posted something on social media, whoever followed you saw it. So we had 30-something thousand followers that we grew to. So now they only show one. Now they only show 1% because they want you to pay. But back then, they showed it to everybody. There was no filters, right? So we were like, wow, we have all these fans now, people that are liking our page because of this. And for a couple of years, we had a great run drumming up fans, but also having those fans be able to see everything that we post. So, things now change. They want you to pay. It's fine. We had a great run with it. But you know what? We were the first out there on social media to run a promotion like this that I can find. And, there were other businesses, jewelry stores that tried doing it as well. Kind of cool, I guess. People got upset. Like, how could you let them, blah, blah, blah. You should have trademarked. You should have this. I said, you know what? It's a compliment. I feel like it's a compliment to what we do. It was no Staten Island jewelry stores. There was other ones around the country that when I went to events like jewelry shows, they questioned me on it, and I let them know what we did, and they tried doing it. And some of them were successful, and some of them weren't, which is fine. I'm okay with people trying to do that. It was a compliment for me. I felt like, if I can now help people like other people have helped me, then why not? But so it was good. We had a great run. We've done it 9 years, and 9 happy couples with engagement rings and stuff like that. Majority of which are 9 happy couples anyway. But they're now having kids. They're growing families and stuff, and we were a big part of that. So it's nice. It's nice to see them coming back with young ones, and still being happily married, which is pretty cool.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so it seems like with some of the content that you have and some of the different campaigns you've run, that there's an element of shareability to them. So I just want to talk about, and this is a lesson for businesses. What can businesses do to um, around that factor of shareability to grow their business?
I think it's the creativity factor. It's the community involvement piece of it.
Hmm.
If you're running a promotion, it's very easy to say, you know what, I'm going to give 25% off my whole store, and I'm going to hope for the best, and put out and send flyers, and it might work actually. In some businesses it might work,
Yeah.
but in the jewelry business, in the car business, and in other businesses where there's a luxury type product or something like
Yeah.
that, people don't really believe in it. They think you're
Hmm.
going to jack your prices up and do something else, you know? So, what shareability, it's mostly people start to trust you as a business owner that want to share what you're doing because they trust the fact that you're doing the right thing.
Yes.
We've had numerous events, and one of our bigger ones that we do is on Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. We do a half off, half the store leading up into the Christmas holiday.
Hmm.
Basically we give off 50% off half the merchandise in our store, and we segregate a portion of our store. But we also take
Yeah.
the proceeds and donate a nice amount of the proceeds to the Steven Silver Foundation. And the event is not just half off, half the store. It's
Yeah.
actually we call it a stand-up sale. So we
Hmm.
stand up for small business, we stand up for our community, and we stand up for our active and retired military.
Yeah.
That came about when the whole kneeling thing started happening within the sports related world, and a lot of started happening, and we felt, there's a picture of me holding a flag with my daughter, and me standing, of course, and her standing holding the flag, and it's us saying that, yes, there are issues in our world, and yes, we feel that there are a lot of things going on that are inappropriate when it comes down
Yeah.
to it. But our flag and our military and standing up for small business during this time is something that we felt would be a powerful message that shows
Hmm.
that we're here for our community.
Yeah.
And we believe in our country. We believe that our military is out there sacrificing their lives for us each and every day, as well as our police officers, firemen, EMTs, any city worker that's really putting their lives on the line, and including even our medical staff during this time, doctors, nurses and such, so, these are the people that are going out there and putting themselves out there in a way that they're sacrificing for their family to be able to provide for us, that's
Yeah.
when I think of community. That's when I think of, that's what we're standing up for.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of where that spurned off of. And it became very, people took to it, because
Yeah.
it was real. It was real.
Hmm.
It was doing it truly from the heart,
Hmm.
and showing that there's a positive message to what we're doing. And yes, and we're also at the same time with discounting, a large portion of our product leading up to, a major holiday that people bank on in our industry, because it's the end of the year, and it's the biggest time of our year is that month of December leading up to Christmas. So coming up with a strategy rather than just a sale, let's say, there's different pieces of the puzzle that roll into
Yeah.
things. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's very, very important to realize that, yeah, we're out there and we're going to do what we can to not only, run a sale, but also give back to the community as well in general, and do it creatively and do it where people see that, we're making an impact, which is what we try to do.
Yeah, and that's a good example of creativity, kind of just going with what's going on, picking up that obviously jewelry during the month of December, or you're going to have a lot of customers for the
Yeah.
purpose of there's a lot of holidays that month,
Yeah.
right? And same thing with, um, like let's say edible arrangements, like
Right.
like the beginning of February is probably a really good month because
Yep.
they sell gift baskets that you can give to your girlfriend and wife.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So yeah, so picking up on those things is very, I think, really important. Um, and you did it flawlessly. I remember that campaign. It was
I
really,
appreciate it. It
really
was
well
real.
executed.
It was real. It came from the heart. I'm
Yeah.
a family man. I love my family. I love our community, and
Hmm.
we wanted to send a positive message. and that's kind of what we did, you know. And there was some pushback.
Yeah.
There were people saying that be careful,
Hmm.
but I didn't do it in a confrontational way at all. You know, we're in a time now where there's a lot of confrontation going on, and you know, we try to just put a positive message out there,
Yeah.
and pray that people see it as that it's us
Hmm.
loving on our community and not doing anything else, you
Yeah.
know. And that's basically what we did.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, so what's next? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about a marketing question. So I want to ask about that campaign that you won where you got the $25,000 grant and Facebook and all that. Did you learn about the power of video content then, or did you already do that at that point?
You know, video content was interesting because back then it wasn't as streamlined as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the video content really came, you know, you know, a few years ago, not even a few, I was almost like, I guess a few months ago, it really hit actually when I had won a package with the New York Jets,
Mm.
with Gary Vaynerchuk,
Yeah.
actually. If you're familiar with Gary V is a marketing genius, we'll say, you know, and getting his message out and providing content that people really take to because it's real,
Yeah.
you know. And he's got an interesting way of putting himself out there, as far as everything goes. You know,
Yeah.
he has no filter,
Mm-hmm.
but he's as real as it gets, and straightforward as it gets, and not in fear of saying truly what's on his mind. You know, which is people value that. You know, and they see the excitement and passion in his voice, and
Mm-hmm.
they want to adapt to it. So what happened was M&T Bank and the New York Jets put out a promotion for small business, and they asked me to join, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
sign up, you know, as I have an M&T Bank next door that we bank with as well. So I did it. I was like, all right, whatever, let me just do it. And I wound up again becoming a top 5 finalist in this thing. Initially, when they had called me, they said that we were a top 5, but you know what? They wanted to be truthful with me and told me that we were really number 6, and the 5th company that was involved said they couldn't handle what needed to be done in time, and they dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really the 6th wheel,
Yeah.
which I kind of liked because I like being the underdog, and it drove me even further to want to be even better. And again, it's just kind of how I operate.
Yeah.
But so what I had to do was I had to put a presentation together. I had to do a whole thing, and I did. And it was all about being a small business, giving back to our community, having everything that we discussed, you know, with the race for the ring, with the turkey baskets with the kids, being at events and having pictures of being at these charity events, and you know, just again, not being just a business owner, but being a community, someone very active in the community, you
Yeah.
know, and that's what we do. That's what we do. So Gary V had taken a liking to what we were doing, and he's like, wow, he's like, you know, I can't, you know, you should win the good guy award. If you don't win this today, you should win the good guy award. I said, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. I said, you know, so when every business presented, you know,
Yeah.
in front of the president of the Jets, president of M&T Bank, Gary, and all them, they said, you know, we're going to do something a little different this year. And first, before we announce the winner, you know,
Yeah.
Gary wants to get up and say something. So
Mm-hmm.
Gary got up and said he was really moved and inspired by one of the business people here. And very similar to Gary's story, he had the same, you know, I have the same story as how we came into the business world through family.
Yeah.
We both have 3 kids. We're both around the same age, you know, and he really took a liking to what we were doing. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, he wants to make a runner-up package and give me a $50,000 grant to help build my business and bring my business to the next level. And
Wow.
that business is, you know, Casal Jewelers, right? He turned around a New York Jets Casal Jewelers jersey, and I'm a big Jets fan, by the way. So he turned that around, and I was like, I didn't even know what to say, you know. For the first time, I was dumbfounded. I was like, wow. I was like, thank you so much, you know. And he whispered in my ear, and he said, look, I'm going to help you take your business to the next level. And I was like, wow, Gary, thank you so much, you know. And it's been an asset to work with his team. You know, we had some good sessions and stuff. And they basically let me in on the video content, on how to get involved with video, be creative with video. And
Yeah.
if, you know, during this whole pandemic, I kind of put it into play with working with my daughter and
Mm-hmm.
making these, you know, Julia and Dada, you know, series kind of thing. And I got to get one going again. I just, you know, been a little busy getting back to work, but, you know, just kind of talking and being real, you know. And I felt like that's what video was. And I couldn't do the video on my own. You know, it's like weird for me to set up the camera and then just, you know, press the button and then all of a sudden sit back and be like, hey, it's me, you know. So I took my 4-year-old daughter in with me because she's cute as anything, and she's got an innocent personality. And we had no script.
Yeah.
and I just asked her what she wanted to talk about. And we, if you go to our Instagram, TV live feed and such, and you'll see we have the Julia and Dada show, and she just talked about love. She talked about
Yeah.
family. She talked about everything that was just real, and my wife, who went back to work as a COVID ICU nurse when we closed down, to support our family and to support our community. So,
Mhm.
me and my wife, we kind of switched roles. I'm the stay-at-home dad, and my wife went out there and supported our community because she felt
Yeah.
called to do so. So
Mhm.
God bless her, and I'm grateful for the work that she did for 2 months, which is really amazing. So it gave me the opportunity to say, take a step back and realize that I can make some really cool video content just by talking to my daughter, because she's the cutest thing, and it enabled
Yeah.
me to be on your end of things and interviewing and asking questions to her, and having her respond and then respond to her responses.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I become more on the video side of things, is being creative, having fun,
Yeah.
and just going at it in a way that's goofy almost. I mean, I dressed up as the chef, in the middle for a promotion, and I dressed up as Superman for a promotion as well during one of our, I can't be serious on video if I'm not like what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I could be a little silly and I can have some fun and people will be like, what's going on with this guy? I had to, I started Crazy Cory, who's crazy about diamonds, and just got completely ballistic and nuts about how
Yeah.
crazy I am about diamonds, on video. It kind of works for me. It's who I am, I can't just
Mhm.
sit there and have a conversation unless you're there and on the other end and
Yeah.
questioning me about it, but I can't have a conversation with myself, looking at myself doing video. It's just not who I am. But I'll have fun doing it, be creative doing it. Sometimes I realize, like, what am I doing? There's one really funny video that I did, and it's really, really, really funny because it explains diamonds. But the difference is it explains diamonds with me dressed up as Abraham Lincoln. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you will see that Abraham Lincoln, me, in my Abraham Lincoln voice, is explaining the beauty of diamonds, the 4 C's, and everything about it. So if you have a second, go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I'll
And,
definitely.
yeah, I do a
Definitely.
little dance in between, and it kind of just really circulated, who I am, just trying to have some fun and promote my business at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember watching, I think I only watched like 2 of the episodes with you and your daughter. Cutest thing ever.
Thank you. Yeah, she's a
Like, and
blessing. She's
this,
so cute.
yeah, and the show itself was amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
Uh,
It was fun. 2 minutes long. I tried to stick with 1.5 to 2 minutes, keep people's attention,
Yeah.
and it really just showcased, that I really have a true relationship with my kids, and we can sit down and just create a 1.5 to 2 minute video. And
Mhm.
as I am as a business owner, I give 110% of my time to my business and my heart, my effort. I come home and I do my best at home too. Look, I'm not the perfect dad. I'm not ever saying I will be, because it's impossible. But I coach my kids flag football. I coach their baseball. I was coaching last year. I coached 22 6-year-old kids in
Mhm.
flag football with
Yeah.
some other, assistant coaches. But you know what? Having my kids see as a business owner that, it's not all about them, but it's all about their kids. It's all about the community and getting them involved, bringing them to events, having them deliver turkey baskets, having them see some of the work that we're doing,
Yeah.
and see their dad kind of being a little silly and fun. It brings some light into our family, and it's fun, and I appreciate it. Especially the 3 months I've been home. I mean, we're in a time that no one would ever expect. Where,
Yeah.
what do you do during this time? I mean, there's 2 things you can do. One is you just sit back and hope, or the other is go out and work, and work to find a way. It's not just, I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to try to drum up business, but you're going to go out there and be there for your family, find a creative way for the community to see who you truly are, especially
Yeah.
in our situation where I became a stay-at-home dad and I started homeschooling the next day after 3 kids. I had to homeschool 3 kids. My daughter was easy, but having to do 3rd grade math,
Yeah.
it was challenging, and to find creative ways to be able to teach my kids and
Yeah.
teach myself at the same time,
Yeah.
in order to support them while my wife was at work, was a blessing, really, because I was able to connect with my kids and show them that, nothing's impossible, and everything's possible, because if you have a heart and you're driven to be successful and to win at the end of the day at all costs, to just give everything you got to everything you do, then you have nothing left. That's all you could do. That's really all you could do. If you give it all for everything that you got, then do it. Just Nike coined the phrase through Michael Jordan, just do it. And that's kind of how I lived my life. Whether it's in business, whether it's with my family, whether it's driving on the expressway. Just do the best they possibly can. And whether it's for our community or whoever it is or whatever it is, whether it's me even playing a sport. I'm going to go out there and coach my kids. I'm going to go out there and be there. I'm going to go out there and I don't care if I'm tired. There's no such thing. You're tired when you lay down on the couch at the end of the day at 11, 12 o'clock, and you think over your day and you go into your prayers and you're just grateful for the blessings you were able to have throughout the day and wake up the next morning and do it again. And I'm grateful that I'm able to do that. I'm grateful that I have a staff at my store that when we are operational, that they're going out there and loving on our customers and giving 110%, that I can confidently say, I'm leaving to go coach 22 6-year-olds now. Please try not to call me if you don't have to, because I'm going to be a little busy. Yeah. But at the same time, you know what? I came home, picked up my son. We went out, we connected, and I saw my son develop in a way at playing flag football. And developed a love for the game. Yeah. And we connected, right? So just like we try to connect with our community, with our customers, we also have to connect with our families, with our children, and be there for them as well. So that's me. That's who I am. I give everything I got to everything that I do. And if I realize that I can't do it, then I won't. And I'll be truthful with you. And another thing that was a challenge for me was about 2 years ago. I was on a lot of boards, and I would sit at meetings, and it was 2-hour meetings on a Thursday night, Wednesday morning, B&I groups and, all this. And now I have 3 kids, right? And I realized that growing up and to be kids and my wife needs help, So I contacted all of the organizations, right? Rather than just not showing up to their meetings and being timid, I contacted them and I said, look, I'm at the point in my life right now where I have my children who need me. Want me, and my wife needs me as well, and I want to be in their lives. I will be at your event. I will help raise money for the charity, like I've been doing, but I can't come to the meetings anymore. And I have to. Some of the organizations, I said I can't be on the board as well. I said just understand, it's not anything personal other than the fact that I want to be there for my children. Yeah. And they respected that. And they appreciated the fact that I want to be a father and I want to be there for my kids. And appreciated the fact that I still said I will still set up my table. Give me that 6-foot table. I'll still be there. And if I'm not there, I'll set up and just provide a volunteer, and I'll get them to the point where they'll know what to do. So regardless, we're still there raising the money we would be raising. Instead of me sitting in a 2-hour meeting, I'm sitting 2 hours having dinner with my children or snack, depending on what time of day I get home, and helping my wife get my kids to bed. And reading our Bible, praying like we do, and just being there as a dad that's going to show our children that that's the number one priority in our lives is family and our community as well. So
that's very admirable.
Yeah, it's real, man. It's life, I don't know. Do your best. Go out there and give it your all. Otherwise, don't do it. It doesn't pay. It's good stuff.
There's a good lesson to learn from that. You always have love to give. And you can bring joy and happiness into every single moment of your life.
Amen. Amen. I agree. 100%. Definitely. Good point.
That's great. Point. Okay. So these are the last 2 questions that we got, and then we're done with the interview. So this is more along the lines of how can people find their gift? That's the first one. And then secondly, what is your definition of greatness and how can people step into it?
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. We're all given a gift. God blessed us in so many ways and created us all differently, so that we all have different gifts. Yeah. Finding out what your gift truly is takes time, but you kind of know it inside. But there's that factor of fear in pursuing that people maybe get pulled back and don't do it. Yes. Like I'll use Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant as 2 examples of being gifted basketball players. Basically they had a gift
Yeah.
but their gift was not being the most talented basketball player
Yes.
out there. But their gift was that they had more drive and determination than anybody. You know what I mean? So both of them got cut. I believe both of them got cut from their high school basketball teams.
Yes.
And at that point, there could have been two roads they could have went down. You know, they could have said, I failed. I'm not good enough. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to give up. Or
Yeah.
they're going to say, you know what? I'm going to drive even further and harder and be the best I possibly can. And that's the road they chose.
Yeah.
So my son, my 9-year-old who just turned 9, Cory, his name is 2, didn't make his travel basketball team. I was very, very upset and could have went in two ways, right?
Yeah.
Could have went down the road of saying that I quit, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore. He did shed tears, and I'm not going to lie, I got choked up myself because of how upset he was.
Yeah.
Because I felt he deserved it, but then again, it is what it is. But you know what? I found it inside myself to teach him a valuable lesson through this: is that never quit. You know, make the best out of every situation, and just like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant did, you know, push yourself even harder, because now you're at
Yeah.
a crossroads. You're at a crossroads. There's two ways you can go. You either push harder or you quit. I go, there are probably a lot of people that got cut from their basketball teams. I go, there's a lot of people that are out there that didn't go out and push even harder afterwards. And I said to my son, I go, do you know who those people are? And he said, no. He goes, Dad, I really don't. And I said, well, right, because the people who quit aren't people who you're going to know because they quit, right? But it's the people that push harder, that want to be determined, want to learn, want to be the best they possibly can be now that they got rejected, right? Look, in life, we're all going to get rejected. Things are going to
Yes.
happen that don't work out the way that we planned them to. You know, the free watch battery, right? The first business chamber of commerce mixer I've ever been to, right?
Yeah.
If I could have easily quit, and I've thought about it, and when I now realize is that when that comes into my mind about quitting, initially it's in your mind, right? Because it's never in your heart. It starts here, and it kind of rolls down to your heart where you finally give up. But when
Yeah.
it starts here, I now have worked to turn that around and make that a driving force. And I've done the same with my children, you know,
Mhm.
where once they start to mentally feel like they can't do it,
Yeah.
it's over. It's over, you know, because if they really start to say, I can't do this, then it's over. So like,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the way it is in business. You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
In your family life, you're gonna fail, and you're gonna make mistakes. But and again, as a father, and I'm talking more as a dad because it relates the same way. When you do make mistakes, especially with my children,
Yeah.
I apologize. I'm the first one to say I'm sorry. I made a mistake, and to man up to what I did. In business, if I make a mistake with a customer, if things aren't exactly the way they are, I make it right. You know what I mean? And things happen, right? It's our responsibility to bring a positive light to everything that we do.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, where there's light, there can't be darkness. You know, and when you walk into a room, if you bring light into a room and you bring positivity and joy and love, people see that. You know, and it's real. You know, it's not like you can make it up. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, people see that too. You know, they see when people aren't being genuine. You know, but if you genuinely care for your community, care for the people around you, care for your family, just care, love, bring joy, happiness, and do your best, then what else do you got? You know, it's called leaving it all on the table. You leave it all out there, and things will come. You know, so circulating back to your gift, you know, it takes time to figure out what it is, but when you do, act on it, jump on it, you know, explore, you know, and utilize resources, utilize people, you know, come to me. You know, I'm around. You know, I love mentoring people that are younger and in the business world, and I've done it with the Chamber of Commerce, with the SIEDC, and you know what? I've had lunch with people and kind of talked about business, and you know what, and helped the way I can, similar to the way we're having a conversation. We'd have a conversation. So now it's weird because, you know, 11 years later, I see a lot of what's in them that was me. You know, lost, like a lost sheep. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know where to go. You know, but you need a shepherd, right, to direct you. You know, and to kind of guide you and in a way, So it's very hard to do things alone, but there are a lot of people out there that will give their time, give their effort, to help you not just find that gift, but to help you, push forward to achieving that goal, and that's something that I love doing, actually, believe it or not. I speak to kids a lot. I speak to communities. I speak, with you, this is enjoyable for me, because if someone could walk away with one thing from this session that we're having, then it was a success, right?
Yeah.
And people may not see it, and I pray that, people maybe see this and be like, wow, I'm inspired to do this. And maybe, give me a call, shoot me an email, Cory@CasaleJewelers.net, shoot me an email, say, you know what, this one thing you said helped me, or this one, I don't know what you were talking about when you said this. Could you explain more? I'll help you out. I'm here, and I find value in helping others. And I find it extremely rewarding to be able to give back now, like
Yeah.
they did for me when I was
Mm-hmm.
just a little sheep, just walking around lost, trying to give away free watch batteries and give away business cards,
Yeah.
So I'm here, I'm here for our community, not just when it comes to the nonprofit world, but for the new business people in our community. I'm here to trying to lead by example in all that I do, and just try to be the best I can be.
Amazing. And last question, I know you have to go, but what is your
Yeah, no
definition?
worries.
What is your definition of greatness?
Interesting, actually. Why'd you have to do that? Right? Greatness. Doing the best you possibly can in all that you do, and doing it with love. It's really it. Greatness isn't about how much money you have in your pocket. Greatness isn't about, driving in the car that everybody wishes they had. Greatness is going out there, whether it's a sport, whether it's your family, whether it's your business, whether if you're working for somebody, you want to be able to be the best you can in that position as well.
Yeah.
So, greatness is a leader that leads by example, and does all the things that are appropriate, that are right, that are just coming from the heart, and coming from a good heart, and that's really what it is. That's kind of my, look, people look at our business sometimes and, they think I'm crazy for doing some of the things I do, and I get pushback sometimes, and people are like, what are you doing? But, I'm just trying to lead by example and do things that maybe be a little bit different, but,
Yeah.
leading in a way that shows that I'm just not here for me. I'm here to help the world if I can, and make an impact on the world. And that's my ultimate goal, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a goal in life, if that was going to be my last question, what's your ultimate goal after the jewelry business? Like if you had one, I mean, I don't know how much longer would be a business. Could be the next 50 years, 100 years, whatever. If it keeps
Yeah.
being passed down, who knows, right? Today's today, but if there's one thing, a goal in life is if I can make an impact on people's lives and make a change in them to push them and drive them forward and lead by example in such a way that my children will go out there and make an impact on the world, and
Yeah.
generations will be impacted, and things will see, people will start to see change and just love on each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all I can do. If I could leave that, one day I'm not going to be here. It's inevitable, that if I can leave that impact on the world, and if one day people can look back and be like, wow, what a great guy that went out there and just, set this example
Yeah.
for so many others, not just for himself. I think that, that's a valuable way of leaving a legacy, and kind of just saying that, like, he gave it his all, left it all on the table. So that's kind of what my definition of greatness is.
That's an amazing one.
Thank
Okay, so thank you to our listeners for listening to this interview. A lot of great lessons to be learned from this. Leading with purpose, leading with love, gratitude, appreciation, determination. All these are key values that you need to be the person you're kind of destined to be and unlock your infinite potential. So I hope
Yes.
you guys learned a lot from this episode.